Hello friends, it's Kristie Marcotte. Today I'm sharing the cards I made using Spellbinders May 2022 Card Kit of the Month. The theme is Koala Smiles. For a couple of cards I'll also be using the May Embossing Folder of the month. And if you are interested in subscribing to any of Spellbinders May Club Kits, I do have links provided in the description box below. I love the card kit theme this month. It's definitely one of my favorites. Let's go ahead and get started with card design number 1. I decided to start off using the adorable die set that's included in the kit. You can create this sweet little koala hugging on a branch. So I have all of the pieces cut out. I use mostly the cardstock that's included in the kit for the koala pieces. And these are really easy to assemble. They have the pre-embossed areas so you know where to place the inside of the ears and also the nose. Now for the eyes, you could cut those out and inlay them, or you can do like I did, and I just flipped over the face, put some liquid adhesive on the back, and attached a small scrap piece of black cardstock. The card kit also includes the information guide, and on the back side it has a tutorial showing how to create one of the sweet koala cards. The little koala is designed to hug onto this branch. So its top two little legs or arms will wrap right around, and then the back leg will just sort of hang off the edge of the branch. And you won't see the other back leg, so you just assume it's in line with the visible one. I know I cut out all of the pieces, but for some reason I lost one of the poor little koala's arms, so I did have to go die cut out another one. I'm attaching the little black hands on the back side, and there is a slight little cut on the two upper arms. That way you can still wrap it around that branch. First I'll attach all the leaves. The branch does have those partial little nubs where you can attach the leaves on the back side. I'm putting just a very small drop of liquid adhesive and attaching the stem of the leaves. I decided not to add any leaves to those last nubs on the branch, since part of the branch will be cut off when I put it on my card. So now it's time to put my little koala around the branch. For the head, I am popping it up using some thin foam dimension. And I know it's hard to see in the video, but the body has that very slight embossed marking so you know where to line up the koala's head. Then I can just rest that sleepy little koala against the branch. Once the body and the head are attached, I can add the last little arm. And this is where you use the little slit that's cut on the arm so you can wrap it around that branch. So it really looks like the koala is hugging onto that branch. I'll put liquid adhesive on the back. I did put more foam dimension on the back of his head. So I do have the end of the branch hanging off of this stitch circle die cut. I will trim part of it off, but for right now I'll just set it aside and start working on the card. I'm using a card sketch for inspiration. This is from OWH. It's number 227. I selected 2 different pattern papers. The background has this beautiful pinkish red flower. Then I'm adding a strip of the wood panel pattern paper. For a little shine between those 2 designs, I'll use some Love from Lizi peel-offs. This is the gold color in the pinstripe style. Since the top area of that wood pattern paper will be covered up with the circle die cut, I'm able to use just some of the small scrap pieces of the peel-offs. I'll layer this piece on some dark green cardstock, then add my card front onto a card base. And all of my cards in this video are American Standard A2 size, 4 1/4 inches by 5 1/2 inches. I'll adhere my circle with the koala on the branch. And before I did place that card front onto the card base, I wanted to trim off the edge of the branch. I didn't want it going over that white border on the card base, instead ending right at that green cardstock layer. For this sentiment, I've already stamped this out. This is included in the card kit. hugs, kisses, and lovely birthday wishes. I cut a small fishtail on the right side. Then before adhering it to the card, I did put a small scrap cardstock piece just on the very right side where it goes off of that circle. And that'll just help keep it at the same level. And for a final finishing touch, I'm adding some gold gems. And this is not included in the kit, but they are made by Spellbinders. It's the gold mix. So there is my finished card, and I did make 2 using this design. For card design number 2, the card sketch is from Mojo Monday. This is sketch number 554. If you are interested in any of the sketches I use in this video, I do share all of that information on my coordinating blog post. The link is provided in the description box below, or you can simply head over to KristieMarcotte.com. I selected 2 different pattern papers for the card. In the very background, there's a small rectangle. It's a light brown polka dot. And then I also have this floral design on a gray and white grid. For the very background of the card, I have some pink cardstock that has a pearlescent finish, layering it on a scallop rectangle die cut. Put my card front onto a card base. You can see just a peek of that white card base showing. Next, I'll add the 3 squares with the floral design, and I did layer those using the same cardstock for that scallop background. I'll adhere all of those in place using some liquid adhesive, and I am following this sketch fairly closely. I used some white shimmer cardstock for the stitch circle die cut. Just adhere that in place using some liquid adhesive. Then I'll add one of the die cut pieces and also a chipboard sentiment. For the die cut piece, I did put some foam dimension on the back side. Now the chipboard does have adhesive on the back. I don't find it very sticky, so I like to add some liquid adhesive as well. And this sentiment is "You are the best," and it has this lovely gold finish to it. Finish off the card, I'll use some more of the gold mix gem stickers. Just put 2 in the upper left hand corner and 3 around the sentiment and image. So there is my finished card, and I did make 2 using this design. For the second card, the sentiment is love and laughter. For card design number 3, the card sketch is from the Paper Players. This is number 279. I have this beautiful green and white gingham paper for the background, and I'm adding a strip of this lovely floral pattern paper. Instead of layering that floral paper on green cardstock, I decided to use some more Love from Lizi peel-offs. This is the Racing Green Mirror color in the pinstripe style. Adding 1 strip on the right and left side. And on the right side, part of it will be covered up with the banners and a circle, so I don't need to use a full strip all the way across. We'll just wrap those ends around the back, add some ATG tape, and layer this panel on some dark green cardstock. And this is cardstock from my stash. The kit does include 9 sheets of cardstock, but I always bring in additional cardstock since I love my layers. For the larger banner, I'm using some more of that same dark green cardstock. We'll just cut a fishtail on the right side. I'll adhere that in place. And I have a stitch circle die cut. I use some white shimmer cardstock. I'll adhere that using some liquid adhesive. And then I'll add a die cut piece, this lovely vase, and I believe these are eucalyptus leaves. It's probably hard to see in the video, but there's also just a few small polka dots of gold foil on that vase. I did pop it up using some foam dimension. And for the sentiment, I've already stamped this out. I hope you feel beautiful today. I think that's a great sentiment. I cut a fishtail on the right side. Before adhering it to the card, I put those scrap cardstock pieces to keep it nice and level. Then a final finishing touch, I'll add some more Love from Lizi peel-offs. These are the same Racing Green Mirror color, but in the mini circle design. These are perfect for embellishments, especially if you don't want to add a lot of extra dimension. So there is my finished card, and I did make 2 using this design. For card design number 4, I'm using a fairly new sketch. This is by MFT. It's number 586. I believe I used this sketch with Spellbinders April card kit. I love finding new sketches, and I do tend to reuse them quite a bit after I first find them. And then I also have my favorites that I'll just reuse again and again. For this card, I selected 3 pattern papers. The very background is a light purple, and it does have some script on it, but you can't read it. Then I added a rectangle with some darling little koalas, and that's the larger piece in the upper left-hand corner. And then the other pattern paper has this nice white and gray lattice design. I layered that background panel on some purple cardstock, and this is cardstock from my stash. Put my card front onto a card base. Now there's the one banner going across in the lower right hand corner, and I decided to add 2 banners. For the white, I used some white shimmer cardstock, and then I have the purple banner just a little bit shorter, and this is the same cardstock as that background layer. Then I'll add a few die cut pieces, and I did put foam dimension on the back side. I have the little koala and the sentiment hey there. In the upper left hand corner, I'm adding a banner die cut piece. It was a tag, it had the hole, but I decided just to trim it down and adhere it as a banner. And to finish off the card, I'll use some more of the gold mix gem stickers. Put 2 in the upper left hand corner and 3 around this sweet little koala. So there is my finished card, and I did make 2 using this design. For card design number 5, the card sketch is from Sugar Pea Designs. This is Sugar Sketch number 41. I'm using some mint green cardstock for the background, and I did add this lovely stitch detail using a die from Honeybee Stamps. This is their Swirling Leaves Pierced Cover Plate. I'll layer this on some burgundy cardstock, and then I have this beautiful floral pattern. This is one of my favorites. I'll round all of the corners using my corner chomper, and I did the 1/4 of an inch corner. Layer it on some more of that burgundy cardstock. Then I'll adhere this panel onto my card. Next, I'll bring in some die cut pieces. I have the sentiment Be Yourself, and I will pop up the sentiment using some foam dimension. I have 3 different leaf die cut pieces, 2 in this lovely gold finish and the other in a pretty mint green color. I did put some foam dimension on the very top portion of that green branch, but all the rest I adhered using liquid adhesive. Then to finish up the card, I'll add a few of the gold mix gem stickers. The gold mix gem stickers match beautifully with Spellbinders kits, since it usually has that gold foil finish on the pattern paper. So there is my finished card, and again I did make 2 using this design. For card design number 6, I'm using one of my favorite and probably most used card sketches. This is OWH number 218. I love this sketch for that large rectangle. I'll usually feature a beautiful pattern paper there. And on this card, I'm featuring these lovely eucalyptus leaves. And I'll also add a strip of pattern paper that has pink, white, and some really thin gold strips through it. I'll put some gold Love from Lizi peel-offs around that piece. On the very bottom, I do need to have a full strip, but on the top, you only see a teeny tiny edge, so I can use a small scrap on that right side and about 1.5 inches on the left side. I layered that front panel on some dark green cardstock, then I'll put my card front onto a card base. If I need a quick card, this is the sketch I will always pull out. It's perfect for featuring beautiful pattern paper, and then it has that banner area for the sentiment. I decided to use one of the gold puffy stickers for the sentiment. This is Thanks, and I will put a little bit of liquid adhesive on the back side just to make sure it doesn't pop off later. For that white banner, I'm using one of the card bases that's included in the kit. I don't use them for card bases since I find them just a little too thin. I prefer the 120-pound cardstock weight, but they're perfect for using for sentiments or the backgrounds of your cards. I did layer it on that same green cardstock, and before attaching it, I put some scrap cardstock on the very left side. Then a final finishing touch, I'll use some more Love from Lizi peel-offs in the gold color, and this is the mini circle style. So there's my finished card, and I did make 2 using this design. If you have a favorite card sketch that you use all the time, let me know what it is in the comments. I love finding new card sketches. For card design number 7, I'm using a card sketch from OWH. This is number 256. I'm using this colorful wood grain design for the background. Almost has a marble look to it. Then I'll add just a small panel of the koala pattern paper. I'll layer both of those on some purple cardstock. On the sketch, there's that thin 1/2-inch strip. Well, I'll be adding 2, one in the solid purple and the other using some purple and white polka dot pattern paper. I decided to cut the left side at an angle just for some extra interest. And I did line up both of those pieces and cut them at the same time. That way the angle was the same for both of the pieces. I adhered both of those in place using some liquid adhesive. I'll put my card front onto a card base, leaving that 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. Now before I attach the koala panel, I will add some scrap cardstock since the very lower area is going on top of those 2 banners. Then I'll put liquid adhesive on the back and adhere it to the card. Next, I'll bring in several different chipboard sticker pieces. The sentiment is be your own kind of beautiful. I'll put a piece of foam dimension on the very left side and then liquid adhesive on the back side since this is the chipboard, and it helps to have that liquid adhesive to make sure it doesn't fall off later. There's also this little tag element with 3 small hearts and then 2 purple hearts that match with the rest of the pattern paper. For this smaller heart, I wasn't sure where I wanted it at first, but I decided to put it overlapping the larger heart, so I am putting a very small piece of foam dimension on the right side. Just put a teeny tiny drop of liquid adhesive and adhere it to the card. Then for a final finishing touch, I'll add a few Love from Lizi peel-offs. This is that gold color in the mini circle style. So there is my finished card, and I did make 2 using this design. For the second card, I used some different chipboard stickers since there is only 1 of each included in the kit. For card design number 8, I'll be using the May Embossing Folder of the month. This is always a nice large size, so it'll work for pretty much any card size that you make. I'm using some light blue cardstock and also some purple, and these are both cardstock colors that are included in the kit. I'm using the light blue for the background, and this is a full A2 size panel. Then I cut the purple cardstock into some strips, and I think these are about 3/4 of an inch wide. Just adhere those to the card at a diagonal, and I'll flip over this panel and trim off the extra of that purple cardstock. For a little bit of shine, I decided to bring in some more Love from Lizi peel-offs, this time in the gold mirror color. The pinstripe style comes with 3 different widths, and I'm using all 3 of them on the card, just randomly adding them against the purple, and then also just a few of the very thin strips on the blue cardstock. I'll wrap the ends around the back. Then before layering this on a card panel, I will run it through my die cut machine using the embossing folder of the month. So now everything got embossed in this really fun design, including those gold peel-offs. I put my card front onto a card base. Now I'm bringing in some of the die cut pieces. I chose the wood frame, a bird. I have the sentiment with all my heart, and also 2 small purple hearts. I'm adding a piece of white shimmer cardstock behind the frame. I want the tail of the bird to go behind the frame, but its head to go in front of the frame. I will pop it up using some thin foam dimension, making sure to add a piece to the bird's tail. Then I'll adhere it on the left side of the card. For the sentiment, I already have some foam dimension on the right side. I'll just add a little bit of liquid adhesive so I can attach it on top of the very right side of that frame. Put both of the hearts in the frame, just overlapping them slightly. Then a final finishing touch, I'll use some more of the gold mix gem stickers. Just put 3 of them around the image and sentiment. So there is my finished card, and I did make 2 using this design. The embossing folder of the month always has such fun designs. For card design number 9, I'm using a card sketch from OWH. This is number 184. I have another lovely floral paper. There are lots of beautiful floral designs this month. It's hard to see in the video, but there are some tiny little gold polka dots in the background. I'm adding that pattern paper onto some burgundy cardstock, and I'll put some gold peel-offs along the very edge. I also have a thin strip of the wood panel, and I'll adhere that on the left side. For the small rectangle, I have this sort of a peach pink color with white polka dots. I'll put my card front onto a card base. I did have a little bit of that wood panel hanging off the edge. I just flipped over my card to trim that off. Now I'll adhere the pink polka dot paper, and I decided not to add a cardstock layer. I used one of the card bases included in the kit for the stitch circle die cut, adhered it using some liquid adhesive. Now I have several different die cut pieces. My favorite is this pink floral design inside a glass case. I did pop that up using some foam dimension. Then I'll add the sentiment happy birthday, and also 2 small yellow butterflies, and I do have foam dimension on the back of both of those. Final finishing touch using some more of the gold mixed gem stickers. So there is my finished card, and I did make 2 using this design. For card design number 10, I have some white shimmer cardstock, and I added some gold paint splatter. Then I ran it through my die cut machine with the embossing folder of the month. Next, I'll add a thin strip of dark green cardstock, and I'm using the double-sided tape that's included in the kit to adhere that in place. I'll also add a gold Love from Lizi peel-off almost to the very bottom edge of that green strip. And instead of wrapping the end around the back, this time I'll flip over the panel and trim off the extra. Put some ATG tape on the back of this panel and layer it on some dark green cardstock. Then I'll add my card front onto a card base. I love how this back panel turned out with the embossing folder, the shimmer cardstock, and the gold paint. It's so pretty. Next, I'll add a few of the die cut pieces. I have several eucalyptus branches and also a camera. I love this camera. I'm adding the branches behind the camera on the left side. I put a small piece of double-sided tape on the back side to initially hold those branches in place. So just adding that final branch. Then I will be popping up this entire image with some foam dimension. Now, instead of adding the image directly onto that background panel, I'll be adhering it on a vellum stitched oval die cut. I think adding the vellum really helps that image pop against the shimmer background. I'll also be adding the sentiment smile, and this is one of the die cut pieces. I did put some foam dimension on the back side. So I've attached the image and the sentiment. Then I can flip it over and put liquid adhesive just where those die cut pieces are. That way you won't see any of that adhesive from the front through that vellum. I do need to add one more foam square underneath that tall branch. Then I'll pull out the gold puffy stickers and use just a couple of the hearts. Put a larger size and a smaller size above the sentiment smile. And then I'll lift up that area where those hearts are and add just a small drop of liquid adhesive. That way there's one more area of that vellum oval that's attached to the card. Then a final finishing touch, I'll bring in some more of the gold mix gem stickers. So there is my finished card, and I did make 2 using this design. I love how this card turned out. It's definitely one of my favorites. Now here's another look at the 20 cards I made using Spellbinders May 2022 Card Kit of the Month and also the Embossing Folder of the Month. The card kit theme is Koala Smiles. I love this kit. I think the pattern paper is just beautiful. If you are interested in subscribing to any of Spellbinders club kits, I do have links provided in the description box below. In addition to the card and embossing folder, I also receive the large die of the month, although this month I have the small die of the month. So hopefully coming soon I'll have a video using that set. In order to receive the May clubs, you do need to subscribe by May 24th. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.